All right, we are live. Welcome to another Sunday live stream on the Practical IT channel. Today we're talking about a couple of things. Proxmox VE7, which I will go over some of the new features and actually be able to show them because I was having technical difficulties on Thursday night. As people who were attending that live stream know, and it turned into an hour and 45-minute discussion, which was actually quite interesting, and I kind of appreciated the little bit of a change. So since I upgraded my two Proxmox machines on different days, the first one I updated had some updates already. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot that so the new kernel kicks into place. And we will be able to compare the two machines when that comes back up. So we will just that, and probably still in the process of shutting down. There we go. Okay, so big releases of the week are, at least in my book, Proxmox VE 7.0, as previously mentioned, as well as Linux Mint 20.2 Cinnamon Edition. And so I don't normally look at the Cinnamon Edition all that closely, but in this case, I did want to take a look at that. So let me see if I can't make things cooperate a little bit more. And there we go. All right, I'm going to take myself off screen. Linux Mint 20.2 Cinnamon Edition. This has Cinnamon 5.0. So once you get it installed, you're greeted with this welcome screen, or window rather, and it talks about first steps. So a small panel and traditional Windows list, or a large panel with grouped. So system snapshots, driver manager. Yeah, being a VM, I'm not really going to go through that. Documentation, help, and contribute. I'm going to turn this dialog window off for subsequent boots. Now, on the surface, it doesn't really look all that much different. But let's see if I can make the Mac bar go away. So the menu is pretty standard. You've got a list of application categories. You've got all applications, and you can scroll through the list. Say if we wanted to go, I don't know, graphics. So it's got a document scanner, drawing app, and a picture organizer. Under internet, pretty standard stuff. Firefox, Thunderbird, Hex Chat, LibreOffice is installed by default. We've got some music and video players. We've got some administration stuff and preferences. We look at administration. You've got things like driver manager, power statistics, which I've never really looked at, and that's for battery on a laptop, which does not apply in this case. So printers is always a good place to go. So I do have this on a bridged network. It does see my brother printer. And if we just walk through the wizard, it'll search for a driver. And it should find something. And we can go ahead and apply that. And we've got a new printer added. Not going to print a test page at this point. It's just one of my standard tests. I always seem to like when they when the Linux distribution detects things that easily. There's a system monitor. So again, if you're coming from a Windows background, this will look somewhat familiar. You've got different applications or processes running, and you've got the option to kill the process or end the process. Shows some resource utilization and your file systems. So I did not put this on a very large disk to start off with. That's why it's showing 55.5% full. There's, of course, a terminal time shift, which is similar to Time Machine on Macs. Makes it easy to do backups. Preferences, you've got the things that you expect. You can also launch preferences from this sidebar. And yeah, count details. You've got screensavers you can set. I don't know. I don't do screensavers too much anymore. I just blank the screen. But that's all right. So not really worried about that. Workspaces. Allow cycling through workspaces. Only use workspaces on primary monitor. Okay, I think that's good. Windows. Buttons on the right side. If you are coming from a Mac environment, you might want them on the left. You might want classic Mac stuff. You might want GNOME. But regardless, you can do that. Action on title bar, double click. You can change that. And yeah, you've definitely got some customization here. More so than what you typically get in Windows, for instance, without adding a package like PowerToys. We've got privacy. Remember, recently accessed files that could be seen as a privacy or security risk. So you could turn that off. Those of us who are a little bit older remember a time when there was no recently accessed files. You had to figure that out on your own. You can set up online accounts, which is fine if people like to do that. I don't typically want the operating system to have my passwords, whether that's Windows or Mac OS or Linux. I tend to use my LastPass for keeping track of my passwords, and it works well, although I'm in the process of migrating away from it at this point. So nobody's watching apparently at this point. So I am in fact live. Make sure. Let's see. Yep, it's showing me as live. Yep, there we go. All right. So, anyways, you can do backgrounds from the system settings. And they've got things that are included. You can also pull from your pictures that you might have uploaded. And there are pictures from previous versions. Piano one seems nice. We'll go with that. All right. So, yeah. Firefox is available, as we've talked about. And we are on version let's see, 89.0.2, and that's up to date. And so I don't know, while we're here already, why don't we just go ahead and use this to log into Proxmox. Oh, interesting. Well, let's go back to try this again. There we go. Advanced, accept risk. That's up and going. That means I can stop pinging that. Okay. And we can come over here and do the same thing. And maybe the reason people aren't watching me is that they're watching Richard Branson go to space. I don't know. That's about as plausible an explanation as anything I've got right now. So usually I have my regulars in, but that's okay. So both Proxmox servers are on version 7.0.9. On the big server, my 1U rack server, I've got a single container that starts up when the server restarts, and I don't know, let's see if we can take this. Copy it. I don't even remember the credentials to get into this, I don't think. Okay, so go back here, 236. That's because I don't have this. Oops. I don't have the DNS on this VM set to the DNS server. And hopefully I used my regular credentials, which it appears I did. Okay. So we're on my little super old super micro server. X7DBR-3. 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 Tell you how old this doggone thing is. So I've had this server for several years now. Yeah. I probably need to think about a newer server of some variety if I want to go with another real server, because this only has DDR2 RAM. And shoot, this has been end of life for so long, I don't even know. But the thing has been rock solid for me. That's why I've kept it going. I normally use it just for labs, learning at home, doing experiments for things that might turn into a project or enhance a project I'm doing at work or for a consulting gig. But for the most part, it's a fun toy. And I didn't pay a whole awful lot for it when I bought it. Let's grab the model number and just see what it would cost on eBay to get another one. Out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. I could get 8 more gigs of RAM for $20. That's a eBay International going past that line. Well, this is rather interesting. So I potentially have another case that I could put another motherboard, another one of these motherboards in. I'm not sure I want to chase down the CPUs and the other parts for it, though. If I found something at a decent price, and we're able to get it populated with at least a little bit of RAM and at least one CPU. That would be an option. But let's see. That's a 2U Super Micro for $700. Super Micro 2U server chassis with 2 PSU backplane rails. Let's see. Do they even show the inside of it? Does not appear so. Looks like it's just the chassis with no guts. Okay, well, that's not going to work for what I want to do. I'm still curious why I've got nobody watching. Let's try that. So I suppose we can always cut this short for the Sunday. And I don't know, maybe I won't even leave this up on YouTube at this rate. It is showing live. Okay, so there are no hard drives, CMOS battery good. There are options out there. I mean, this would be something I would consider right here. I've had such good luck with this particular Super Micro server I've got that I would absolutely consider getting another one. Something newer. And this is 8 cores, 192 gigs of RAM. So I'm guessing that's going to go above 400. And it's $50 shipping from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Right. So anyways, I can dream on another server in my most immediate future. It is likely going to be a new Mac Mini. I think I found the problem that I had recently with my glitchy video. And I think I've got that handled for OBS recordings at this point. So what I'm looking at is the I interrupt this broadcast to bring you breaking news. On my phone, I've got CNN playing, and Richard Branson is now launching into space. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. I have to give the guy credit. 74,000 feet. 1,600 miles an hour, Mach 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 8, 9, and Mach 3. Well, congratulations, Sir Richard Branson. My proper zip code plugged in here. So the model I'm looking at is going to be 16 gigs of RAM. I'm going to stick with the half a terabyte of storage because I can add Thunderbolt storage later. And I'll deal with USB storage in the short term, but 10 gigabit Ethernet. And I'm still debating whether I want to bump up to Final Cut Pro. I may wait and get that later. I will probably wait and get that later. But for $1,200, if I were to order today, I could have it between July 20th and 22nd at less than the cost of a mid to high end NVIDIA graphics card. Now, were I to have a PC ready to put this graphics card into, it might be a different story. However, I don't, and I know that this Mac Mini is capable for video editing, the kind of editing I do for YouTube. I've been using this one on my desk for 9 years for editing various things, and I don't really have an issue with getting another one. Now, that's not to say in any way, shape, or form that I'm going to be giving up on Linux. I will still be covering mainly Linux, although with a new Mac, you can expect a few Mac videos. So, yeah, let's go back to Proxmox. So we've got this container running, which is fine. So one of the new features that was worth pointing out is for repositories. So they have actually added this panel. This is brand new. You can add and delete repositories without jumping to the command line. And that's pretty sweet. That is pretty slick that you've got that now. So you've also got, and this has existed for a while, you've got integration with Let's Encrypt. So if I had ports open and pointed to the server, I could grab a certificate and get rid of the warning for the self-signed certificate. That's something I may very well do on the secondary machine as a starting point. But I will likely end up doing it on both machines. Right now, I am in the process of planning out the best way forward for an overhaul of my network at home here. And this will come as part of the overhaul because I will be doing some interesting things with that. And when I complete that transition, I think I'll be a lot happier with the way things are set up. Things will be a little bit more self-documenting, which is good. Because as it stands right now, there is nobody in my family that could get into my systems. My two brothers, one's a programmer for embedded systems, the other one focuses on databases, and neither one of them has the chops for the networking and the other things that I've got set up. So they would be left at a loss and would likely have to reset equipment and, lose whatever chance they had at gaining access to any of my data. All right, so Branson's plane is gliding back to Earth at this point. So again, congratulations to Sir Richard Branson. We have, I'm going to throw this in the chat just for good measure. The link that I just pasted in chat is for the YouTube book by Daryl Eves. It is called The YouTube Formula: How Anyone Can Unlock the Algorithm to Drive Views, Build an Audience, and Grow Revenue. And this book has been a pretty big eye-opener for me. It is new this year. And let's see, published. The copyright is 2021. It's available in a hardcover from Amazon. You can also get the Kindle version, which would save you about $1.50. So I've got the hardcover version. And yeah, this is definitely going to change how I do some things going forward. So let's see. I'm going to hang around and talk until I hit the high noon point. And if nobody's come in, I will end it after the hour. But hey, it's all good. I can't expect all my live streams to be as popular as the one on Thursday night. So we'll see. We might change things up a bit, and I might do 2 weeknight live streams and release videos on Sundays. I'm not opposed to that. I just I want to figure out how this is going to work going forward. Oh, good morning, Chris. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I think you're the first one to come in. I've been rambling to myself for the last 35 minutes or so. So yeah, I don't know if you saw any of my video from Thursday, but I had a bit of a computer glitch and I wasn't able to share my screen, so it was mainly me talking for an hour and 45 minutes on Thursday. But yeah, so I was just talking about the new repositories screen in Proxmox 7, and that's pretty slick. In fact, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, they give you the option to add, but you can't edit. Which, yeah, it's kind of a diggy way to do things, I suppose. But so I have disabled the enterprise repository and enabled the no subscription repository. And of course, you know, some warnings come up. The no subscription repository is not recommended for production use, which when the server is at home sitting in my closet, it's not really for production use. So no harm, no foul there. If I could actually justify the cost of a subscription, I would absolutely support the Proxmox people. But on this particular server, since it's a dual processor server, I don't want to pay the price for a dual processor subscription. Because if I remember, they do charge by the processor. So get a subscription. Yeah, 840 euros per year and CPU socket. So I'm assuming with 2 CPUs, you double that to 1680 euros. And then what's our conversion rate right now? That's not what I want. Let's see, exchange rate. Is that going to get me where I want to go? Change dollar euro rate. Maybe. Feel like I'm going on a wild goose chase. There we go. Calculator. Holy crap. Well, that was more work than it needed to be. Okay. Probably because Firefox on Linux has defaulted to freaking Yahoo. We'll go to Google. Euro to USD. $1,680. Yeah, so that old server that I've got would cost $2,000 a year for the support, and I'm not willing to pay $2,000 a year for support for a home server. So great question, Chris. The since Proxmox is based on Debian, the Proxmox software itself requires a separate repository to install the hypervisor part of it. And so their standard repository is the enterprise one, of course, because they want to make money. Oh, I guess I looked at the premium support. $90. Let me do this again. So we would be looking at more like 180 euros. It's still $214 a year. So the Proxmox repository will pull down their software, the components for Proxmox itself. They default to the enterprise version, and they do make, although they don't really publicize it too much, the no subscription version or repository available, which is for exactly what I'm doing: testing, home use, proof of concept work, things of that nature. And so yeah, pretty cool stuff. I if I had, for instance, a Ryzen box, that might have 6 cores, 12 threads type of machine, I would absolutely consider the community or even the basic license. I don't see a need for more than 3 tickets a year for a home lab. And so we'll see after that. Now, I have been considering the idea of somewhere down the road when we replace some of the current computers at the library to spin up a couple of the computers that are eventually not going to be able to run Windows 11 and convert them over to Proxmox and continue using them in the library. So this would allow me to migrate the existing servers that I've got, which for whatever reason my predecessor put Windows Server 2016 as the main OS, and then installed VMware Workstation, and then on top of that did Windows Server 2019 with the antivirus server, and which also has our printing system on it now. The problem is VMware Workstation does not relaunch when the server reboots. So if there's a power outage, I've got to remote in and kick off that process and restart VMware Workstation and then restart the VM. If we move to Proxmox or really anything else, that could be triggered to happen on reboot is, restarting the server and the VMs. So that's something I'm considering. It would also let me have some redundancy in place, which I don't really have right now. So I'm relying on backups and VM snapshots, and I do employ things like Rescuezilla to clone the VM just in case a snapshot goes awry, or I can't get to it to launch that snapshot and recover it. So yeah, I suppose he could have used Hyper-V. I'm not sure what his reasoning was for selecting VMware Workstation. Probably he was just more familiar with it. I have never really used Hyper-V myself. So I know it exists. I've been through some simulated labs with it, but I've never managed it on bare metal or anything like that. Seems like it's gaining traction. It's got a lot of people that like it, a lot of people that talk about it. But I tend to see more VMware asked for in job descriptions and requirements and things of that nature. So, look at this. So, see what else. Make sure I'm not missing any of the big pieces. Now that I can actually show, go away. Now that I can actually show the screen. Okay, Debian 11, LXC4, Ceph 16.2, QEMU 6.0, OpenZFS 2.0, new reworked installer with ButterFS or BetterFS. Download ISO images from URL. So that was another of the big features. So if we go to local ISO images, we've got this download from URL option, which, what do I have on here? Debian, Open Media Vault, Redo Rescue, Rescuezilla, Turnkey Linux. So let's grab Mint just for the sake of argument. And of course, Azure comes up as the first. I hate Yahoo. Hey, look at that. First option on Google. Download. So we come over here, and somewhere we will be able to find the link. Copy link, Come back over here, download from URL. Paste. Query URL. It gets that. Under advanced, you can select a hash algorithm and you can have it verify the certificate, which is kind of cool. So we can just say download and it will go out and it will grab that, where previously you had to download the ISO on your main computer or a computer and then upload it to Proxmox. So let's see. I have a Cisco server in every restaurant. It runs on Windows Server and runs Hyper-V VM. It actually runs the entire game card system for the restaurant. Works fine. We have 500 locations. Interesting. I've always thought of Dell and HP and others for servers. I've never really encountered a Cisco server. I really like the new Pop!OS release. Have not tried the latest Mint. So this VM that I'm actually running that is showing on your screen right now is actually the brand new version of Linux Mint 20.2 Cinnamon Edition. I have done some minor modifications. Oh, that's why. I've done some minor modifications to it. Nothing too outrageous is happening here. Pretty standard Linux Mint setup. Cinnamon is, I think it's based on an old GNOME 2 version, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't use Mint on a regular basis. I guess the thing that still puts me off is that I have to disable the asterisks in the terminal, and it'd be great if they'd put something in the system settings to toggle that setting for you. But maybe it's just an annoyance. Maybe it's just an annoyance. Yeah, I know it can be done. I've got notes saved somewhere on what little config file it is that I need to change. I've done it before on other systems. But I don't know. To me, Mint doesn't offer anything super compelling. I still like to check it out every now and again. That's, to me, part of the excitement of Linux is I can, grab the ISO for free and run it in a VM and, see what's changing in different versions. Firewall comes disabled by default, installed but disabled, which, yeah, I guess that's fine. Most people won't enable it though. So, you know, it's got home, office, and public profiles. Pretty standard stuff. I think it's just a wrapper around UFW. So did detect my printer just fine, which was great. I've got the high DPI scaling turned on, just so it's large enough for people to see. But yeah, I think this is a beginner friendly Linux distribution. Ooh, look at that. I don't know. Fly up and down. Right. So, anyways, so yeah, downloading ISOs directly from Proxmox is pretty slick. I know I'm going to enjoy that. It saves me time. Even though I've got a lot of stuff downloaded on an external hard drive. And I typically just use SCP to copy them over. I don't know. I guess I'm still a command line junkie. And I guess I'm kind of proud of that fact. I will say your mileage may vary, but yeah. So I've gone so far as just when I've been on site and I've got a customer that is breathing down my neck, I will open the command line and run some arbitrary commands just to make them roll their eyes and leave and let me work. You know, the whole idea that if you're going to help or watch, the price is going to go up. But yeah, this is very usable. I'm not sure I would make it a daily driver. I think right now the distribution I'm leaning most towards is Pop! OS for personal use. I guess I'm not recommending Linux to too many people at the moment, but it would either be between straight Ubuntu and Pop! OS at this point. So I think what Pop! OS and System 76 are doing with the Cosmic desktop spin of GNOME is pretty slick. It's customized to the point that it's becoming almost its own thing, but still something that people can move to and easily use. So I would certainly go the Pop! OS route before I would go to Windows 11. Plus, I don't have a single machine that will run Windows 11 right now. So, and I don't expect that's going to change until after Windows 11 has been out for a few years and I can get a used machine that will run Windows 11. So, I will probably have access to it for work before then. But for home use, I'm more of a Unix type guy, so I do keep Macs around and lots and lots of Linux in my apartment. So, um, so I guess a couple other things they added were single sign-on with OpenID Connect and Markdown in the notes. And I guess I've got a detailed notes and upgrade here. Let's see. So what I've not done is done a clean install of Proxmox 7. At some point I will, just so I can play with the Btrfs for the root file system with the installer. Other than that, let's see. Access control, QEMU6 has support for IO U-Ring, has an asynchronous IO engine for virtual devices, which is now the default for newly started or migrated guests. Interesting. So, support for containers on custom storages. Clear the clone containers etc machine ID when systemd is in use or that file exists. This ID must be unique in order to prevent issues with MAC address duplication on Linux bridges. Some high availability features, backup and restore, time synchronization. New installations will use Crony as a default NTP daemon. So that's one benefit I'd get from a clean install, which I might do on the little Dell Optiplex I've got my secondary Proxmox server running on. Disk management. Wiping disks is now possible from the GUI, enabling you to clear disks which were previously in use and create new storages on them. Note, wiping a disk is a destructive operation with data loss potential. So that's something that I haven't looked at. Storage. So edit. Backup retention. I have to find out where that specific feature is at. Oh, let's see. I'm sure some of the Linux community are giddy, hoping the requirements for Windows 11 creates more Linux users, but it won't. You're absolutely right. I've already seen videos people have made going on and on about how it's an opportunity for Linux to gain some market share. And you're right. It is what it is. It's still, best on servers, and you're going to have the enthusiasts that will run it on the desktop. Now, with that being said, I've got some leeway. I manage the computers at a community center, and for the computers that are just strictly used for office type work. They're old Core 2 Duo machines, and Windows 10 just really bogs them down. And so I would absolutely consider converting at least a couple of those over to Linux and just you know, spending some time down there and actually working with people and getting them a little comfortable with it. I view moving between Linux and Windows and Mac OS like the difference between driving a Ford or a Chevy or a BMW or a Nissan. Yes, there are going to be some differences. Generally, those are cosmetic or under the hood. But if you can drive one, especially if it's an automatic, you can drive any of them, provided it isn't some little subcompact that, you know, a big dude like me can not actually fit into. But you know, it's a parallel that escapes most people. You know, it's one of those things. I don't understand why there's such a big deal about it, but let's see. Till there's a true Microsoft Outlook client for Linux like Teams, it will be very difficult to get Linux as a workstation used for most. Yes, in an office environment, absolutely. Of course, in all honesty, I could care less about a true Microsoft Outlook client because even when I worked in the corporate world, I was using the Outlook web access because I hated the fat client and I avoided using it at all costs. And you know, I can run that in a browser anywhere. But I'm not at all a fan of Microsoft Outlook. And the last 2 jobs I've had were standardized on Google. What is it? Google Workspaces now, formerly G Suite, and that is amazing. So yeah. Well, you know, once some of the people that are stuck in their ways and retire or come to the realization it's not 1997 anymore, we might have a chance to pry the Outlook fat client away from them. Oh, Richard Branson is back on Earth. So kind of fun watching that little trip. I've got CNN playing on my phone via Sling TV, and exciting stuff. So let's see. They talk about some breaking changes for Proxmox. CIFS credentials have been stored in the namespace D, blah, 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 instead of, since Proxmox 6.2, existing credentials will get moved during the upgrade, allowing you to drop fall that code. Okay. External storage plugin mechanism had an ABI version bump that reset the ABI age, thus making it incompatible. An incompatible breaking change that external plugins must adapt before being able to get loaded again. Okay. So the MAC address for the bridge might be reset. So yeah, so far I haven't noticed any big glitches with this new version. But again, I don't have this in production, so for me, it's just continuing to chug along, and I just keep watching the updates. Right now, I should be update on both of these. I think 7.0.9 is the newest, newest version, and the other servers on 709 as well. So, but right now I've got running on the 1U rack server is my DNS on Unbound little playground I had set up, which I should probably update this too. And let that go do its thing. So yeah, that's Proxmox in a nutshell for version 7. As I play with it more and run more VMs on it, I will give some updates in future videos. I guess we could look at the Mint Software Manager. I think they've got a store too. But yeah, I have been contemplating doing another Proxmox VE series based on 7.0, since the one I did last summer was on 6.3 ish, I believe. So yeah. All right. Good morning, David and Tony. Welcome. So I think you missed most of my look at Proxmox 7, but glad to have you guys in regardless. I'm contemplating at this point moving the Sunday live stream to every other week and doing the Thursday night every week. But I don't know. I'm still a little hesitant on that because I've been doing the Sunday one for so long, and I think I missed 2. 4th of July and Easter, I think I canceled. So let's see. So the Mint store has, or Mint Software Manager has all the common stuff here. Minecraft, of course. MAME, pinball. There's a toy train simulator. Free open source remake of the old colonization game. Interesting. So, Lynn City NG, city simulator game with polished graphics. So yeah, there is some fun little mindless distraction. There's Steam. There's all kinds of stuff. You got it broke down into board games, first person shooters, strategy, turn-based strategy, emulators, simulation of racing. So we've got Wine, we've got Play on Linux, which is the front end for Wine, DOSBox, Nintendo DS emulator, PlayStation emulator, NES, Game Boy, Atari Lynx and PC Engine, Atari 2600, GameCube and Wii emulator, Nestopia, another NES emulator. Sad that I own most of these machines in their physical form. Oh my. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy listening in the truck on your way home, Tony. So yeah, the software manager in Mint is your standard fare for pretty much any Linux distribution. A lot of them are pretty similar. You can also look at Flatpak software packages specifically. It's a shorter list, but you can do Steam as a Flatpak and OBS. There are some trade-offs using a package like that. One place that Linux still needs to catch up to the Mac in some ways is the Mac and Next Step before it. They've been doing things in packages like this for 35 years, 33 years. I don't know, somewhere in that range. The next Cube came out in like 87 or 89. So it's at least 32 years. But yeah, there's Skype, there's Netron, Handbrake. What do we have? Libre Sprite. No, animated sprite editor and pixel art tool. Okay. They've even got a graphical front end for SSH called Easy SSH. Connection manager. Nextcloud desktop. But yeah, that's get some interesting things from the Flatpak side of things. You know, I don't tend to get too political on the snap versus Flatpak versus app image debate. If one doesn't work for me, I will try another one, and I'm not opposed to using all three on the same system if it's necessary. Now, granted, not for server, but you know, snaps. Looking back at the history of them, they did start as more of a server side thing. Where they seem to have issues is when you have a graphical application, and that can cause problems. Let's see. My children have a Wii and an old PlayStation around here too. I play Sequest 2600 game using Stella when I need a break from work. Keep screenshot a best score to beat each time. I've got a ColecoVision emulator on my MacBook Pro, and I will occasionally break out a game called Pepper 2 because it's one that I can easily play with the arrow keys. And I do the same thing, Chris. I keep a screenshot of my high scores. And given how funky the ColecoVision controllers were back in the day, I think I've surpassed any score I could get on an actual physical machine. I still remember the days I spent playing some of those 2600 games. Indiana Jones was a real challenge to win. I never had the Indiana Jones game for the 2600. But we had ET. That thing was a piece of garbage, and literally turned into a piece of garbage when they dumped a bunch of them in a landfill. Let's see. We ordered, when I was a kid, we ordered, I think we had to send in the UPC symbols off the back of Kool-Aid packages, but we ordered a game called Kool-Aid Man. Which was entertaining for a short period of time. So yeah, Kool-Aid Man. Oh, and they made it for Intellivision as well. That's special. Published by Mattel in 1983. Initially available exclusively through mail order, and that's how we got our copy. And then they did have retail packaging later on, which I never knew that. I think I knew or had heard that it came out for the Intellivision as well, but yeah, I'm probably showing my age by talking about all these old games. Let's see. Time is so short these days. I feel guilty watching YouTube content, even though I learn something new all the time. Yep, I'm in the same boat. Although I've started to try to retrain myself to think of watching other people's YouTube videos as market research. And you know, view the YouTube endeavors as sort of a business of sorts. Granted, one that's not making me rich quick, but it's making me a little extra cash, so I can't complain. And I enjoy doing this. So Space Invaders was a big time consumer as well. Yes, we definitely had a copy of Space Invaders. You folks remember Odyssey 2000? That was a Magnavox console, wasn't it? The Magnavox Odyssey. Seems like I knew somebody that had one. Oh, that was just their Pong console. or multi-game, as they rebranded them. So I've seen this before. I've seen this before, but we had a Pong machine. But it looks like this has twistable knobs. The machine that we had sliders. So my wife had our firstborn in 83. Okay. So 2 years after my sister was born. Odyssey 2000 never got the love it should have. Fantastic game machine. Controllers were great. And the games were just fun, all of them. Yesterday, I spent about 4 hours watching content from Daryl Eves, preparing to read the YouTube formula you recommended. Yeah, so speaking of that, I am on page 242, and I've got many, many pages of notes in a small notebook. There were nights that I was staying up. I'd get so caught up in reading the book, I was staying up till 3 a.m. reading. So, the Odyssey 2. Let's see. Odyssey 2. Okay, yeah. So that was computer / console. Marketed as Magnavox, also known as Philips. Odyssey, released in 1978. Sold in Europe as the Philips Video Pack G7000. All right. I've seen those in used video game stores. I've never actually used one. Oh, and they had a model of the video pack with a built-in 9-inch monochrome display. Interesting. I had a Heathkit ripoff of Pong as my first gaming console, 1975, I think. Built the kit. Nice. I saw Daryl on Nick Nimmin Live yesterday. He promoted the book. Thought about reading it as well. So, well, here we go. Here's my Amazon link. Affiliate link to the book. I think I've got that pasted in the description for this video as well. I've learned a lot by reading through this. I've learned a lot about mistakes I've made along the way. Some of them I've already self-corrected through trial and error, but this gave me some context as to why they were bad moves. And so, for the $16 and change that I spent on the book, it's been a great read so far. Just wondering if it's geared towards someone wanting to do YouTube full time rather than the weekend warrior. Well, so I think there's useful material in here for anybody, because although I would like to someday do this full time. I don't see it happening anytime soon. It talks about, so part 1 is 4 chapters long about the platform. It's all about background on the platform, the ecosystem, the AI behind it, and the algorithm. Part 2 is the opportunity. And I could, I suppose, put this up here too. Nope, that's not going to work. Part 2 is the opportunity. Again, that's 5 chapters long. Talks about why channels fail to succeed, making money, your influence, the power of your influence making a difference, how businesses extend their reach and drive revenue. And then the third part is the YouTube formula. Talks about identifying your audience, recon and research, feedback. Let's see, content is king, feedback is queen. Titles and thumbnails, engaging viewers' attention so they watch more, creating a content strategy, building a community around your content, and then optimizing, launching, and promoting your video, tweaking your content, and then revisiting the idea of try, fail, analyze, adjust, which is what they talked about, I think, in chapter 1. So he brings it full circle. And then there's an appendix that has information about the companion course and a little bit about Daryl himself. So really, I think there's value in here for anybody that aspires to do anything with YouTube. But yeah, I've enjoyed it so far, and I've only been monetized for just over a year now, so it's a good book in my estimation, and not really overpriced at $16.49 or whatever it was. Let's see what this. YouTube formula, ytformula.com. And I think, if I remember correctly, because I have been on this site before, and it's still loading. And it started playing automatically. Go figure. Hi, Daryl. So yeah, interesting stuff on his site. Worth checking out. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to a different page here. There we go. Let's see. One replay of a live stream where he brought in his most successful mentee, a chiropractor that now gives diet advice. Glancing through it, Tony, I would say it does. He really knows the algorithm. Yep. That's my conclusion as well. I was surprised that he told everyone on that live stream I watched that he now builds channels to over 100,000 and sells them. He said not even using his name that he can get a new channel up to 10,000 in about 3 months. Wow. He has the formula, the contacts, and the confidence, even using delegates on screen. Yep. Good good tips there, David. Thank you. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend a book like this if I didn't find it impressive in some way. So, all right. No, I'm not working for Daryl. I've seen him on YouTube, but I've never met the guy. I doubt he would give me commission on any book sold, but you know, uh, he'd probably be more interested in finding a young, attractive female to flog his book and try to convince people to buy it. But you know, the old idea, sex sells, right? Uh, and I'm just a middle-aged bald guy that does YouTube videos. So, yeah. So uh that's cool. I never considered myself much of a salesman, but hey, I think I've successfully sold now 2 copies of the book. So, um all right. Are there any questions on Proxmox or on Linux Mint Cinnamon edition? Because those are the 2 big things for the live stream today. I think I've covered those fairly well, hopefully. The maybe I've locked Firefox up. Anyways, well, let's take that off screen then. So, anyways, okay. Yeah, apparently I killed that VM. Yeah. I want to meet him. Maybe I can find out about a future conference he will be part of. Yeah. Now that things are starting to open up, you know, if I could get to a conference he's presenting at, I would definitely like to meet the guy. It really seems more of the same. For all intents and purposes, yes, I agree, Chris. It's not changed that much to have any wow factor in my eyes. But you know, it's one of those things that I guess in some ways Linux getting boring is not necessarily a bad thing. I know it was a fun ride being there. You know, like the first 10 years that I was using it. So 97 to 2007. It was a wild ride, and you know, this is where I towed out uh, a line from a Grateful Dead song, and you know, what a long strange trip it's been. Yes, I'm old enough to remember the Grateful Dead. um Vid Summit coming up in September. All right. Well, let's see. See what YouTube and Video Marketing Conference in Los Angeles. Well, that's probably going to put it out of my price range, but 77 days, 11 hours, 17 minutes, and 56 seconds. And what did tickets run? Oh, let's see. Virtual attendee pass is $200. I could probably swing that. I want to find out more what the virtual attendee pass gets you, though. So yeah, this could be kind of fun and give me a reason. There's Mr. Beast. He wrote the foreword to Daryl's book. And there's Daryl. Shannon Morse. I followed her for a lot of years. Over on Hack 5. Most of these people, Luria Petrucci, I recognize. Most of these people I don't know. Roberto Blake, I've seen some of his videos. Nick Nimmin. And more. Okay. So the virtual pass. Sign up for our online virtual event. You can stream virtual or vid summit to any device. Regular price $497. Yowza. 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 Okay. I will have to think about this a little bit. So that may be too soon. My day job is crazy right now through the end of September, being audited by our regulators. Ouch. That does not sound like a fun time. Me too. All right. So this looks like it could be a possibility. And if I am able to swing the price to do this, I will definitely report back on a live stream. But looks like it could be interesting. Their schedule. They don't have. They're not clickable yet. Schedule just takes us back to this page, which is the same as the speakers page. That just links us down to the speakers. Okay, so no like official schedule is posted yet. It looks like if you want to watch your favorite speaker again, or you're unable to watch the live stream September 28th through 30th, you will still be able to view the conference sessions in the app. Okay. So yeah, that could be interesting. Let's see. All right. We are officially at an hour and 46 minutes. Are there any final questions or comments? Vid Summit might be kind of interesting. So looks like our audit may be over the week before that. So you'll be ready for a couple days off to sit and watch videos, right? Now I just need to sell a video card for the fee. Well, I've heard about the old woman who lived in a shoe and had so many children she didn't know what to do. Are you the guy that has so many video cards you don't know what to do? I don't know. Is there a connection there? Oh my. Well, I think we'll wrap things up. I've got some website work that I'm kind of dreading doing that I should probably get on the ball and get done this afternoon. The sooner I get started, the sooner it'll be done and over with, and I can do something more entertaining. But yeah, this movie studio I do website work for, where they've decided to cut back on the drive-in movie theater idea, and instead they're going to do their comedy club even before they have their liquor license. So that should be interesting. I would have to be in person. I need to make some more contacts. That's fair. That's fair. I could do the $200. I'm pretty sure. Spending $1,000 plus travel is gonna be out of my comfort zone at the moment. Yeah, because I'd have to either get a hotel, or I'd have to at least at the minimum get a rental car, and I could probably crash on some friends' couches a ways outside of LA. So that might be an option once they get to the 10th annual version. So thanks for the stream. Hopping in the pool now. Have fun in the pool, Tony. That actually sounds refreshing. I still plan on building a PC with the 3060 Ti to sell. All right. Well, I will wrap this up now, I guess. And thanks everybody for coming in. This was kind of fun, and I will probably be putting a poll up to see what people think on whether I should do the Thursday night every week and move to alternating weeks for the Sunday stream. I don't know. I may hold off until I complete Daryl's book and then see if I have other ideas once I review my notes again. But live streaming is here to stay. It just might shift to different days a little bit, and see what happens that way. So thanks again, everybody, for coming out. If you have not liked and subscribed, it'd be great if you could do that if you got some value out of this. I will be back. At this point, I'll be back next Sunday. But I've got a video in the works to come out this week, so you will be hearing from me before next week. So on that note, take care, everybody. And I will see you in the next video. Stay safe and have a great day.